Dan Illman, Mike Beer, race number 10 at Gulfstream's the WL McKnight, a grade 3 going 1.5 miles on the turf, full field, evenly matched, nice betting race, and a great opportunity to get involved with the DRF Bets account. Sign up for DRF Bets at drf.com/bet and double your first deposit up to $250. Here's the field for the grade 3 WL McKnight Stakes. Again, we are going 1.5 miles. Red Knight came close to Sadler's Joy last time out. Sadler's Joy might very well be the favorite or the second choice in the Pegasus World Cup turf.
Yeah, this horse ran really well last time against a horse who just towers over a field like this on form. I mean, I just think he's a very, very logical horse in this race.
He is the best turf form in this race, no doubt about it. And he's always been kind of a difficult horse to ride. I think Bill Mott's figured him out. And that's you leave him alone early, you take him to the back of the pack, and you make one run, as he did in his last couple of races, including this race. The grade 3 Red Smith at Aqueduct, where he's second best to Sadler's Joy. He's the number 8 in this race. He's in behind horses, Mike. He's looking for a seam. Now he's got the seam. He's going to come with his run. It's just that Sadler's Joy got the jump on him.
Yeah, Sadler's Joy's probably just better than he is, and he did have the jump on him as well. This horse ran well again in this race, though. I think you're right about the running style for him. I think that's been sort of key to you can't get too handsy with him. You let him sit back and make one run. The other big key for him has really been distance. He's really excelled and really upped his game since they've started to go longer with him. To me, he just makes a ton of sense in this race.
Let's throw up the Timeform US pace projector for this race, because we see him near the back of the pack, and I'm sure that's where Joel Rosario will have him. Does it concern you, though, this new running style? Because we know one-run closers often, if they don't get the right pace or if they don't get the right setup, is in trouble. You know Red Knight's going to take money. Is he just better than these horses and he can overcome, or are you worried about that?
I mean, I think he really is just better than these horses. You know, you always have to be a little concerned when you're taking short prices on horses who, you know, are going to have to pass a bunch of horses in the stretch. I just think this is a really good spot for this horse.
Prince of Arabia hasn't won in quite a long time. You have to go back to 2017, but he's graded stakes placed on the dirt. He has some back races. His most recent start was his first race off a long layoff, and he just didn't do any money. The fact that he was in for 62.5 doesn't make me excited to play him against these tough graded stakes horses.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really see it with him. The distance is no problem for him, and he certainly handles turf well enough. I just didn't really see it with him in a race like this.
Michael Maker perhaps has done it again with the 3 Appreciado. Claimed this horse for $16,000 in February. Got a stakes placing in the Claiming Crown Emerald last time out. We're going to watch Appreciado. He's the number 4 horse in here in the black cap. He's going to ease his way into second. And the horses that he split, Mugsmatic came back to run second by a lip in the Sunshine Millions turf with a 96 buyer. Tusk, the winner, came back to win the grade 3 tropical turf with a 96 buyer. Appreciado just needs to take a slight step forward. With Maker, you don't worry about these kind of horses when they stretch out.
No, you don't. This horse has shown that he can go longer anyway in the past. He's got some races. He's not really fast enough to go with horses like this, but he certainly ran well in that race we just watched, and it's just hard to discount any Maker horses in races like this.
Speaking of Maker, he took Karam for $50,000 3 starts back. First start for Maker, let's watch it. December the 1st at Gulfstream, no sweat, nice trip. Shooting up the inside to win this race with an 88 buyer. He got washed off last time out, but again, didn't you get the feeling that Maker wants to stretch this horse out? Maybe he saw that race at Saratoga where he just got beat going 11 and said, there's something here.
Yeah, I mean, listen, this horse, there was always something there with him for his prior connections. He never really put it all together, but you could tell he could run a little bit. Maker took him for $50,000 and he got a nice win out of him. Yes, he had a perfect trip in that race, but he was running through the wire in there.
Always felt that the 5 Salute the Colonel's more of a listed stakes, state-bred stakes horse, but he's been in pretty good form, and his last race was his first start off a little layoff in a short field that maybe didn't work to his advantage. He has a 3-race win streak snapped here on December the 1st. It's only a 4-horse field. It looks like he's got a big shot in the white noseband, black blinkers on the outside, and he just doesn't get there.
Yeah, he just can't get it done in this race. It was a little disappointing that he didn't prevail in this race, but you know, he's won a couple of times at 1.5 miles over Gulfstream turf. The distance is no problem. I wonder if he's just a couple of these horses.
WW tried the Pegasus World Cup turf last year, finished 8th behind Bricks and Mortar. He seems to have found himself on synthetic surfaces in his last few races, winning 2 of 3, including this race, all the way out at Golden Gate Fields on December the 15th. He's already on the lead on the outside. He's very game to win this race as the favorite, but again, he was in for 62.5 on this day. He's the kind of horse that I think if it rains, he moves up on yielding going.
Yeah, he's run at least one big race anyway on yielding turf, and he does have a good running style where he can just sort of sit up close to the pace, but he looks like he's in very tough here.
Maker also has the 7 Cross Border, but Cross Border is also cross-entered in the John B. Connolly turf at Sam Houston on Sunday. We'll see if he runs there. He ran okay last time out in the Fort Lauderdale, a race in which he was on sort of a rated pace and he just didn't last. I think that distance is a little bit too short for him. Stretching out's what he wants.
Yeah, this horse just got really good when Maker took over. He came back from a long layoff, and Maker just kept getting this horse to take steps forward. He actually ran a remarkable race in the Turf Classic at Belmont, that Grade 1. I mean, he was never going to be able to beat that field, but he ran really, really well that day. Of the 4 makers in here, this is the one that I want to use.
What can you say about Pumpkin Rubble? He's been consistently running in stakes races and competitively at that since 2014. He's now 9 years old and looks like he's still feeling good. Here's his last start as an 8-year-old, the Grade 3 valedictory, going 14 furlongs, and he just dominated this race, winning it for the 2nd consecutive year. Maybe in his old age he's become more of a synthetic horse, but we do know distance is his friend.
Yeah, that's really his surface probably at this point, and listen, the longer the better for him. He probably wants to go even longer than the 1.5 miles, but I'm not knocking this horse. I'm going to use him somewhere because he's got the right running style and distance is no problem. This is not the strongest field in the world, Dan.
Shazier is going to have to stretch out, and I think that's kind of a big question, as well as the class issue. Remember, he was beaten for a beaten $40,000 tag 3 starts back, but he's lightly raced enough that we probably haven't seen his best. It just seems like a difficult spot for a horse eligible for a non-winners at 2.
He'll be a big price. I'm not going to knock him. He just seems like he's in very tough.
Hey, it's Maker again with the number 10 Temple, who he claimed for $35,000 and got a stakes win 2 starts back in the Gio Ponte. Last time out in the Tropical Park Derby, 4 straight 3-year-olds. Temple was far, far behind. He's going to come with a run on the outside. He's in the yellow hat. He doesn't change leads in the stretch. He's kind of found his plateau at a 90 buyer, and he might need to run a little bit faster to beat these horses.
Probably has to take another step forward here. I like this effort, if only because you're not seeing a lot of horses close in this race that we're watching, but he made up some ground in that race. I thought he ran well. He's going to have to do better than that against this field.
Spooky Channel is the number 11, and they was placed in a tough spot last time out, off about a 5.5-month layoff, running him in the Fort Lauderdale, and at 58-1, he ran like it. He's a horse that probably is a little bit class compromised, but a lot of folks that are obsessed with the distance are going to say, listen, he won at 15 furlongs at Turf Paradise.
Won 5 straight at Turf Paradise, and he handled distance over there. Things have gotten a little bit tougher for him and against better horses than his last 2.
American Tattoo won on dirt in a race washed off the grass last time out. We'll take a look at that race right now. It was the 8 Allen Jerkins at 1.25 miles at Gulfstream, and he was able to get to the lead. Maybe he benefited from some bumping in behind him, but he was odds on based of his overall resume on dirt. Turf is going to be the question for him. This is his turf debut. He has a full sibling that was mostly a dirt horse, but a half sibling that was a group winner on turf in South America. The last workout came in company with Channel Cat. The 2 things that perhaps are work to his advantage are distance and speed.
Listen, I like him as a horse. I actually really like his dirt form for Pletcher. But boy, post 12, going 1.5 miles, first time on turf, and 7-2 on the morning line. I don't like any of those things.
I usually don't like any of those things, but as we take a look at my top selection, I am making an exception in here. I think John Velasquez is on ascend with American Tattoo, and I think if he wants the lead, he can get it, and maybe get this horse to relax. And the fact that he has enough turf pedigree for me on the bottom, coupled with the fact that he likes the distance, coupled with the fact that he might be able to relax, I like American Tattoo in here. Red Knight, certainly the horse to beat.
I think he is. I think he's just way the horse to beat in this race, and he's actually a very fair price to me at 3. I don't know if you get 3-1, but he's a very fair price at 3-1.
12-1-8-7 for me, 1-7-12-8 for Mike. Grade 3 WL McKnight as we creep ever closer to the 2 big races on the Pegasus World Cup card.